All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, the early part of the NBA regular season has really been the perfect storm, not only for the NBA league offices, but also for the LA Laker fanboys. They've been all over social media, YouTube, the internet, my comment section, rambling about how great the LA Lakers are through 20 games. For those of us who actually understand what we're watching, it's very clear that Adam Silver has made sure that the Lakers would have as weak a schedule as possible early on so that they can get the ball rolling. Prior to this season, I was on record as stating it would not surprise me if the Lakers were a couple of games under 500 through their first 20 games or so, maybe even 30 games heading past Christmas. That's why I have to give them a lot of credit. I have to give LeBron James, Anthony Davis, their head coach, a lot of credit because they've gotten off to a far faster start than I thought. But it became very obvious to me during the preseason when the NBA scheduled the Golden State Warriors to play them seemingly 15 times that they were trying to make sure that, at least associatively, when people watched the Lakers square off against the Golden State Warriors in the preseason, that they were to be the witnesses to a proverbial handing off of the baton in the Western Conference from the Golden State Warriors to the LA Lakers. It just so happened that the Clippers seemed to be a fly in the ointment. I also noticed that without a shadow of a doubt, no doubt in my mind, the Lakers have began this season playing at a playoff level of intensity. So the real question is, how long can they keep it up? How well are they going to fare against the other good teams in the Western Conference, whom they've almost not played against at all? They've had 4 good teams that they played in their first 19 games. They recently just got blown out at home to the Dallas Mavericks. They were 2-2 in those 4 games against good teams prior to getting blown out by the Dallas Mavericks in their last game in LA. So in my view, the LA Lakers are fool's gold. I believe that they're going to win somewhere around 55 to 56 games, a bit more than the 51 or 52 games I thought they were going to win before the season. It would not surprise me at all if the Lakers were eliminated in any round of the Western Conference playoffs. And no, I do not believe that they're going to make it to the finals. I think that the best team in the Western Conference, as well as the NBA, is without a doubt the LA Clippers. And unless the Clippers suffer a serious injury to one of their 2 star players, whether it be Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, I just don't see anyone beating them in the Western Conference. They have too much offense and too much defense. And they're pretty much going to be the cream of the crop in the Western Conference for the next 3 years, counting this year. But just getting back to the Lakers, I see that they're going to have a lot of problems against teams who can really shoot the basketball. When they play against teams that can shoot the 3 ball and also defend, the Lakers are going to struggle because they're old, they're slow, and their offense is very methodical. And no matter how much the media tries to promote this false notion, they do not have good 3-point shooting. Danny Green is a player who you can take out of the game if you put one defender on him who's dedicated to stopping him. Let's keep in mind that the only reason why Game 1 of the NBA regular season between the Clippers and the Lakers was competitive is because Danny Green was out there looking like Ray Allen. That is not something that you can expect in their future matchups. And the reason why that happened was because there was no Paul George to put on Danny Green when he got hot. So anyway, they're going to talk about who the best team is in the NBA, and I'm going to chime in.
Let's talk some hoops, fellas. Let's talk some purple and gold while we're at it. Looking at this week's ESPN.com NBA Power Rankings, the Bucks are in the top spot just ahead of the Lakers. Saw what they did to the Knicks, with the Clippers, Nuggets, and Celtics rounding out the top 5.
I think the Celtics are going to have a very inflated regular season, especially in light of the fact that they've been able to get rid of Kyrie and improve their team chemistry. They're probably going to get knocked out of the playoffs in the second round. We'll see what happens in the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is going to be very interesting as well because, especially after the first round, it's going to be very difficult to discern exactly how good any team is going to be and whether or not we'll consider them a viable candidate to knock off the Clippers, who I believe is going to be the team to make it to the finals. I think the Bucks are not going to have enough. The Celtics don't have enough size. The way that you counter the Clippers is by having skilled big men on the inside and also having outside shooting. The Lakers have great size amongst their big men, but they're not going to have enough shooting or team speed to beat the Clippers when the time comes. At least I don't think. Who knows what might happen if the NBA is able to make some miracles occur like they did back in 2016 to help LeBron defeat the Golden State Warriors. That might be the only chance that the Lakers have. As of right now, I think that LeBron is a lot like Al Bundy's Dodge. It seems to be dependable, but it's going to conk out when you need it the most.
Show. on top of the West. Stephen, A, Lakers best team in the NBA?
Well, listen, I think they are.
That means you don't think they are. Because if you really thought that they were the best, you would have said yes. Right now, the Lakers are the best team in the Western Conference. You started off your little soliloquy by saying, well, listen, right now I think they are. You predicted they were going to be the best team in the Western Conference before the season, and as of right now, you look pretty decent with your prognostication, especially in light of the fact that they have the second best record in the entire NBA right now. But I think that you know that there's something right in Denmark because they haven't played anybody of substance yet other than those 4 games, and of course the 5th game this past Sunday where they got mollywopped by the Dallas Mavericks. The Lakers are going to have a lot of defensive problems as this season goes along because Avery Bradley, Danny Green, Rajon Rondo were all league defenders 5 or 6 years ago. Right now, they're decent, but they're not going to be able to keep up with teams that have a lot of team speed and shooting.
Oh, listen, I've repeatedly stated this. The Clippers are built better top to bottom. But I'm one of those guys that this is the sport of basketball, and I think if you...
Yes, it's the sport of basketball, and no disrespect, Stephen A. Smith. You're wrong every season with your predictions. Every season, you're wrong. Even you've admitted this. If the Clippers are the better built basketball team, and they have the player in Kawhi Leonard, who most people believe is currently occupying the throne right now, other than if you're a LeBron James fanboy or a Laker fan, most people who understand the game of basketball know that Kawhi Leonard has been able to do enough in the past season to qualify as being the current inhabitant of the proverbial NBA throne right now. It's a tentative habitation. It's tentative. He's not someone who's solidified in that throne, but he does occupy the throne in my view right now. Now, if LeBron were to win an NBA championship, he would reassume the quote-unquote throne, a place where he really has not sat in any solidified manner for the last 4 or 5 years, not since they won the championship back in 2016. So that's about 3 years and change ago. Right now, it's Kawhi. Previous to this year, it was LeBron, it was KD, whoever you preferred. I've always stated that I would kind of lean towards LeBron prior to last season because of what he's been able to do overall, how he's been able to carry various teams, so on and so forth. I've always thought that Kawhi was bubbling. But the way in which Kawhi carried the Raptors last season and his exploits in every round of the playoffs, I don't see how you could really even have a debate over who should be considered the best overall player in the league with what he does on offense and defense, with how he accepts the challenge of guarding the opposing team's best player. He pretty much helped to shut down Giannis Antetokounmpo in last year's Eastern Conference Finals. He was able to knock off the Philadelphia 76ers and have exemplary performances all throughout that second round matchup. I just don't see how there's that much of an argument right now. The regular season level of intensity is so far diminished from what we see in the postseason. I have to judge you and evaluate you based on what you do in both the regular season and the postseason, with far more weight added onto the postseason performances. So that's why I state Kawhi Leonard is number 1 right now. So to just get back to the point, when you combine that with Stephen A's admission that the Clippers are built better, how could you still hold on to this LA Lakers prognostication? It makes no sense to me.
2 elite players playing like elite players, then you can beat anybody. And that's the premise under which I'm making this proclamation.
Okay.
No, the premise under which you're making that proclamation is that you need something to argue with Max Kellerman about. Let's be for real, Stephen A. Smith. You know what you're watching. Right now, the combination of LeBron and AD is kind of a souped-up version of Stockton and Malone. It's super souped up on the LeBron end, and maybe even with the Karl Malone-Anthony Davis aspect of it. But it's a souped-up version of Stockton and Malone. Is that going to be enough to fare well against the modernized version of the Chicago Bulls from the 1990s, that being the LA Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George? We'll find out.
If this were just a matter of looking at a roster 1 to 12, 1 to 15 and seeing who has the better roster, I would tell you the Clippers. If you're talking about who plays better defense when it really, really counts, I would tell you the Clippers. But I think that if LeBron and Anthony Davis are at their best, there is no answer for them.
There doesn't need to be. LeBron and AD are going to get their points. That's why I call them a souped-up version of Stockton and Malone. From a basketball IQ perspective, LeBron and Stockton are about equal. Now, we know physically LeBron far outsurpasses John Stockton, and there are many more things that he can do from a scoring standpoint. When you compare Malone and Anthony Davis, numbers-wise, it's going to be about even. But it's when we consider the ancillary components, that's when the Clippers are going to start to shine over the Lakers. They have better defense. They have better coaching. They're going to far outdo the Lakers when it comes to three-point shooting. I just don't think that the Lakers are going to be able to keep up with them. And and the Lakers better not allow the Clippers to get access to Andre Iguodala. If that happens, they're done. At best, it would be a 5-game series if the Lakers were to get to the Clippers.
At all, and nobody will beat them. The question is, will that be the case? They just lost a game the other night to Dallas. Doncic put on the show. Lakers have been rolling 110 straight, probably took the night off. Thanksgiving dinner.
More excuses. The Lakers took the night off against Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Okay. A team that was coming into the game with a record that I believe was 13-6. Why would the Lakers take a night off against them when they've had dogfights against the New Orleans Pelicans without Zion Williamson and with Brandon Ingram shooting something like 4 for 20? They had to fight and scrap all the way to the last minute to defeat them in New Orleans, but they would take the night off at home against Luka Doncic? You believe that?
Happy and all of this stuff getting a little bit lax, and he came in and he smoked you because Doncic is that dude. He's something special. But the flip side to it is that I think that overall, when you look at the Lakers, the way that they're playing defense, when they really amp it up and they turn it on, I think that they are special. I think the only team in the league that can beat them when they are like that is potentially the Clippers, and I'm still not giving anybody the edge. I'm not going to ignore Denver, by the way. I think we need to give Denver more love.
Denver's just the ornament on the tree. They're not the tree. They're going to be a nice team to watch in the first round of the playoffs. They might get to the second round, depending on the seeding. But they're not going to be able to defeat the Rockets, the Clippers, or the Lakers, I don't think. Even though it would not surprise me if they gave the Lakers a run for their money, especially if they got hot and were able to play well in Denver and run the Lakers out of the gym in Denver. Maybe steal a game 1 or 2 in LA, assuming that the Lakers end the season with a better record than the Nuggets. That could be a scary matchup for the Lakers, we'll see, especially with someone with as high a basketball IQ as a Jokic. Maybe if their guards, the Denver Nugget guards, are able to step up and play extremely well in that series, who knows? But I would pick the Lakers over the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are a bit too light in the ass to deal with LeBron and AD over the course of 7 games. That would be a great, maybe second-round matchup. But I don't take the Nuggets seriously.
Well, I'm just talking about the Western Conference. I'm sorry. I know Milwaukee's in the East right now. They look better than anybody. And the Greek Freak looks like a monster, no doubt.
Milwaukee looks like that team every year that goes balls to the wall in the regular season, wins 58 to 60 games, gets to the playoffs, does not have a higher level to get to, and then runs into another team with a great player who can offset Giannis and then lose in the playoffs because they don't have a high talent level on that squad. They just play hard and smart throughout the regular season. And most NBA teams do not play hard and smart every night like the Milwaukee Bucks. So it makes them look better than they actually are. They get to the playoffs and these teams come up with intricate game plans. Players who have more talent, or teams that have more talented players, start to step up on the defensive end, and it makes them look a bit more regular. It happened last year against Kawhi and the Toronto Raptors. That's a dark horse team. The Toronto Raptors are a dark horse team in the East. If I had to choose a team to come out of the East this season, it would be the Toronto Raptors, at least a dark horse team right now. The favorites will probably be Philadelphia or Milwaukee. But if I had to choose a team to come out of the East as of right now, especially if they were to stay healthy, it would probably be Toronto. There's a big difference in a team that has gone through the experiences that they went through as a squad last year in winning a championship. And you know what's so funny? So many of the Michael Jordan haters, not to digress, but so many of the Michael Jordan haters love to bring up how after he retired in '93, the Bulls the next season won 55 games and they did this and did that. You have to understand, when you're dealing with a team that has that much experience, they know how to win games. It's not even so much that they have a higher talent level than other teams. They just know how to win games. They don't fold under pressure because they've been there and done that so many times. That championship level experience is invaluable. And that could carry the day in the Eastern Conference for the Toronto Raptors this season. Because Pascal Siakam is no Kawhi Leonard. but he is doing his best Scottie Pippen impersonation from the 93-94 season. And they could be a 55-56 win team this year at the very least. Right now, they're on a pace to win over 60 games, 15-4. That's on a pace to win 62, 63 games over the course of this season. Do I think that they're going to win that many games? No. But they're going to win in those high 50s, somewhere in there, especially when the better teams start playing against one another. Boston, Miami have been a bit of a surprise. Miami more than Boston. We'll see. I think the Eastern Conference playoffs, once again, are going to be more exciting than people give them credit for. But as of right now, if I had to pick the NBA Finals contestants, it would be the Clippers out of the Western Conference, the Raptors out of the Eastern Conference, and there would be a lot of narrative that the NBA could promote in the finals should both of those teams make it. Who do I think they would prefer in the finals? Most likely the Lakers or the Bucks, or the Lakers and the Sixers. Something like that the NBA would prefer.
But I'm just talking about out west. I'm not going to ignore the Denver Nuggets. They look special.
I am a Lakers fan. This happens to people in the industry sometimes. You make a prediction based on what you see, but then you have rooting interest. But then it's hard to not start rooting for what your prediction is because you want to look smart. But I'm still a Lakers fan. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Lakers are the best team in basketball. But they're not. The Clippers are. And I know you could point to Milwaukee right now, or the Lakers, or maybe Dallas. And by the way, if Porzingis can stay healthy, he's going to get better and better throughout the year.
This guy loves him some damn Kristaps Porzingis and Danny Green. If this dude Max Kellerman had his own fantasy NBA draft, he'd probably pick the Greek Freak first, then Kristaps Porzingis, then Danny Green, and say, I don't need anybody else. I'll let them auto pick the rest of my team.
That duo is going to be impossible. That's why I said before the season they're a sleeper of mine.
I'm going to be very interested to see how well Luka Doncic fares in this year's playoffs, assuming that they make it, which it pretty much looks like they're going to make it, barring some type of catastrophic injury either to Doncic or to Porzingis. I want to see how he deals with the uptick in intensity and the fact that heading into every game, the defense is going to be totally keyed on stopping him. Right now, he's so accustomed to having all of this open space to work with. When you get to the playoffs, and I've already stated that in my view, Luka Doncic is like a right-handed Caucasian version of James Harden. We've seen how Harden has fared in the playoffs thus far. One edge that I will give Doncic is that I believe that his basketball IQ is at least one level above James Harden, and he does not feel the need to resort to these flopping tactics, so on and so forth. So his basketball integrity is higher than James Harden's. Even though James Harden just seems to understand how to score in NBA basketball with a greater level of diversity than any other player that I've seen other than Kobe or Jordan. He just understands how to put himself in the position to put the ball through the basket, whether it's free throws, layups, threes, or what have you. In this modern day version of the NBA game, he has no post-up game whatsoever. He's really not allowed to utilize a mid-range game. But for the choices that he's given, the options that he's given in their offense, he understands how to score a basketball better than any player that I've seen in this era. This era basically being the last 7-8 years, where it's basically just dunks, layups, and threes. So that's the amount of credit that I will give James Harden. But just getting back to the point, I want to see how Luka fares in the playoffs when you have teams like the Lakers, the Rockets, who have dedicated game plans to stop him defensively, and whether or not he's able to rise to the occasion, or if he folds up and starts to make excuses like the other player in that stylistic genre, James Harden, does. We'll see.
When push comes to shove, the Clippers are the best team in basketball. Even now, their point differential, their one-loss record is in line with the best teams in basketball. And they've only had 6 games where Kawhi and Paul George played together.
And keep in mind, they pretty much blatantly have given away about 3 or 4 games this year. So they're just going through the motions right now. The Clippers, they just have that championship look to them. When you have 2 great wings like that, who can play at a very high level on both offense and defense, that's normally the team that's going to be the favorites to win the championship, because teams like that can ratchet up the intensity level.
The rest, they haven't even played together, and they're still right in line with the other teams. And then you add the defenders on that team, like Patrick Beverley and the guys with grit and toughness and the whole thing. And then you add Doc Rivers. You bring up What's the answer for LeBron and AD when they're...
There is none. And the best understanding, the best mindset to have when approaching a LeBron James AD tandem is to not worry about stopping them. Of course, you don't want them to detonate, but we have to firmly grasp that 3 is better than 2. You want the Lakers to work through Anthony Davis, pound the ball, turnaround jump shots, 2 points. He's only going to make those turnaround jump shots against a defense on the level of the Clippers 4 out of 10, 4 out of 11 times. What you want to do is keep AD off of the free throw line. You want to limit his dunks and layups. You want to make him work. You also want to put him in positions where maybe he can harm himself trying to rebound the basketball. So you want to stay on the boards. You want to compete for the rebounds as much as possible because we know he's an injury-prone player. And if he's someone who has to keep jumping up and down competing for rebounds, he can twist an ankle. He can maybe re-hurt that shoulder. Those are the differences in playoff series like that in the second, third round of the playoffs. You're not going to expect LeBron to injure himself. He's pretty much been the quote-unquote bionic man over the past 17 seasons. But you do want to put LeBron in a position where he'll start to get frustrated. And when LeBron starts to get frustrated, he's going to start to point fingers. He's going to give up on his coach, Frank Vogel. He's going to give up on his teammates. And he's just going to be concerned about stat padding. And when that happens, you got him.
You're right. There's nothing you're going to do to stop those guys. But the best possible job that can be done will be done by 2 of the best perimeter defenders, at least against LeBron, in the world, Kawhi and Paul George.
Once again, you just want to get LeBron James' shot attempts up. That's it. You know that he's going to average somewhere around 26 to 29 points per game in a series against the Clippers. You want to get his shot attempts up. You don't want him averaging 27 points per game on 14 shot attempts or 15 shot attempts. You want him averaging 27, 28 points per game on 22 shot attempts, maybe 23 shot attempts. Get his shooting percentage below 50%. Those are going to be the keys to victory for the Clippers.
What's the answer for Kawhi and Paul George?
None. Because the best thing about what Kawhi and Paul George are going to bring to the table is that their defense is going to be so outstanding that even if they only score 17 to 19 points in a game in that series, they have enough offensive diversity through Lou Williams and some of these other players, Montrezl Harrell. A Landry Shamet can get hot. But as long as their defense stays consistent, and they don't just stay home and play great defense, they also play great opportunistic defense. Kawhi Leonard can get 4 or 5 steals in a game if he wants to, as can Paul George. But you prefer that they stay home on LeBron because you know if you reach on LeBron, they're going to start blowing the whistle. Stay in front of LeBron. Understand that he does not really want to beat you straight to the basket anymore because he does not have confidence that he can do so. He wants to run side by side with you and then try to do that reverse pivot spin move back into the lane. Maybe have a man waiting for him, try to draw some charges, contest his layups at the hoop. LeBron is not the best finisher. Unless he's going in for dunks, he's not someone who has a great touch around the rim. So you just want to contest him at the basket, frustrate him. We already know that it's in his head that he does not get enough free throw attempts. So if you're the Clippers, you're thinking maybe we can get him off of his square in that way.
Also, no answer. And unlike Doncic and Porzingis, who are not yet in their primes, and they're puppies still, especially Luka, or LeBron and AD. LeBron's a little long in the tooth, even though he's playing lights out. Kawhi and Paul George are future Hall of Famers.
And they're both thirsty. Not even hungry, they're thirsty.
Kawhi's case, a 2-time Finals MVP champion. In their primes, 2-way players, both somehow getting better year over year, and at their best, at the height of their powers right now, Clippers are the best team in basketball.
Agreed.
You can say that.
And you agree, Stephen A. Smith. That's why you said you can say that. You know what it is, Steve.
Leonard, I've got concerns about his health. I know.
So you don't have concerns about Anthony Davis' health?
It's load management and all of that stuff, and he averages more minutes than anybody come postseason last year with 39 per game. But that remains to be seen. And I think that the time he's going to have off during the regular season could come back to potentially bite them. But again, I'm going to close by saying this. LeBron James, along with Anthony Davis,
are going to put up numbers, but they're going to lose.
If they're at their best, no one can beat them.
I want to see how the Lakers look against the Rockets. I'm not even concerned about the Lakers and the Clippers. I just don't see the Lakers being on the Clippers level. We also have to understand that these inflated defensive stats that the Lakers have been able to accumulate in their first 20 games have been against the lower rung, the lower tier of the NBA, who do not play efficient team basketball and are not proficient shooting the three ball. That has made Dwight Howard look better than he actually is. That has made JaVale McGee look better than he actually is. We're going to see, especially as the Lakers start to delve into some of the more difficult aspects of their schedule, some of the better teams in the NBA, their defensive metrics are going to start to go down. You're going to see Dwight Howard get less and less playing time. But Stephen A. Smith just said that if LeBron James and Anthony Davis are on point, nobody can beat them. Once again, these people in the media, they act as if LeBron James is Bill Russell or Michael Jordan, like he has this outstanding record in the playoffs or in the finals. The dude is 3-6. This is why so many people don't even want to deal with or take seriously a lot of the prognostications of the mainstream media, because it has to be agenda driven. What else could it be? Because the facts are stating something that are the exact opposite of the notion that cats like Stephen A. Smith are propagating on the national airwaves. LeBron is an all-time great player. Anthony Davis is a great stat player. He's a great stat machine. But he has not proven that he's a winner. As Skip Bayless states so well and so often, the dude had a record 50 games below 500 on the New Orleans Pelicans. It's one thing that you're not winning championships. You're not even making your team competitive. 2 years ago, the Pelicans were a 50-win team with Anthony Davis. They could have been that last season. They had the support. He had the support on that squad. They had the talent to win another 50-plus games and maybe challenge in the playoffs last year. Who knows? But he had given up on the team before the season. If you brothers remember, last season the Pelicans got off to a 4-0 start. And the media were talking about Anthony Davis possibly winning the NBA MVP award. He realized that the team got off to such a fast start that it would have hurt his trade demand. So he had to reel it back. All of a sudden, he started to get these magical, mystical injuries that were holding him out for 7, 8, 10 games at a time. The Pelicans' record got so bad that it allowed him to start claiming that the team had no chance to compete. He pretty much sabotaged his team's chances last year. He's not a winner in the NBA. I'm sorry. He has a lot to prove. Will he prove it this year? Who knows? Maybe. But for Stephen A. to sit on television and say if LeBron and AD are on point, nobody can beat them. I'm sorry, but LeBron has proven to be beatable in the most crucial moments. And Anthony Davis has never proven that he's even the remotest sense of a winner in the NBA.
Lakers and Nuggets play today, and Carmelo, Max, and the Trailblazers face the Clippers
Go
today.
Carmelo.
We'll react.
But anyway, that's basically it on that, brothers. We'll see how things go for the remainder of the season for the LA Lakers. They are going to go through a very trying month for them. The month of December is when they finally get a chance to square off against the varsity portion of the NBA. November has been mostly junior varsity for the Lakers and Adam Silver's pet Negro, LeBron James, Mr. Wokety Woke, you know, the NBA's business partner. It's LeBron, Nike, and China holding hands with the NBA, skipping down the yellow brick road. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I still personally believe that the Clippers are going to be the best team in the Western Conference. So peace.